The truth is that there is nothing wrong with you. There is something wrong with what you have been taught to think that you are. Emmet Fox. What if the very thing that feels most comfortable in your life is the very thing that's killing your soul? What if the sofa, soft, familiar, and safe, has become your altar of forgetfulness? There's something deeply unsettling about how perfectly we've arranged our lives around avoiding discomfort. We've crafted existences so cushioned, so predictable, so free from friction, that we've forgotten what aliveness actually feels like. We mistake numbness for peace, routine for stability, and the absence of questions for the presence of answers. You wake up, sink into your morning routine, settle into your work chair, return to your favorite spot on the couch, and drift off to sleep, all while something inside you grows quieter and quieter. Like a voice calling from a room you've forgotten exists. They gave you a recliner and called it freedom. They offered you comfort and told you it was the prize. But here's what they didn't mention. The soul doesn't want comfort, it wants truth. And truth never fits on sofas.
The theater of normalcy. We are spiritual beings falling asleep on designer couches. Each day, we sink a little deeper into the soft embrace of predictability, mistaking the absence of struggle for the presence of fulfillment. You have your designated spots, the desk where you perform productivity, the car where you consume podcasts, the couch where you binge-watch other people's stories while your own story grows dusty from neglect. These aren't just furniture, they're altars to a life lived on autopilot. Walker Percy understood this spiritual suffocation. His character Binks Bowling moved through a world of air conditioning and automobiles, stock reports and social gatherings, all while feeling like he was drowning in cotton. Percy called it malaise, that peculiar modern disease of being everywhere, except where you actually are. But Percy saw something most miss. This isn't clinical depression. This is the soul's revolt against a life that has become too safe, too predictable, too removed from the raw edges where real living happens. How many evenings have you spent scrolling through your phone while the television murmurs in the background, your body present, but your spirit nowhere to be found? How often do you catch yourself going through the motions of living while feeling like you're watching someone else's life through glass? These aren't signs of laziness or ingratitude. These are symptoms of a soul that's suffocating on comfort, starving for something real in a world that has become increasingly artificial. The danger isn't that we're playing roles. Society requires that. The danger is that we've become so comfortable in our roles that we've forgotten there's anyone real underneath the performance. We've upholstered our authentic selves so thoroughly that we can no longer feel the original shape beneath all the padding. Yet something keeps stirring beneath the cushions. Something that remembers what it feels like to be fully awake, fully present, fully alive. Something that whispers in the quiet moments, "This isn't why you came here."
Boredom as sacred messenger. If comfort is the drug, then boredom is your soul's intervention. That restlessness you feel when everything is fine isn't a character defect. It's spiritual intelligence trying to break through the anesthesia. Comfortable chairs make for passive lives. Truth prefers the edge of the seat, the uncertain ground, the places where you can't just lean back and let life happen to you. There's a profound difference between clinical depression and existential hunger. Depression whispers, "Nothing matters." Existential hunger declares, "Everything matters too much for this watered-down version of living." Emmet Fox understood that our problems aren't caused by external circumstances, but by our identification with thoughts that keep us small, safe, and spiritually asleep. When we stop thinking about our conditions and start thinking about truth, transformation becomes not just possible, but inevitable. That Sunday afternoon emptiness, when you've checked all the boxes but feel hollow inside, that's not emptiness, that's spaciousness. Your soul clearing room for something more real than the manufactured satisfactions you've been feeding it. Consider the irony. We live in the most comfortable era in human history, yet anxiety and depression rates soar. We have more entertainment options than ever before, yet boredom feels epidemic. We're connected more than any generation before us, yet loneliness has become a public health crisis. We're trying to satisfy infinite hunger with finite snacks. We're attempting to fill cosmic emptiness with earthly furniture. It's like trying to contain the ocean in a coffee cup. The mismatch isn't accidental, it's fundamental. What we call boredom is actually homesickness, the soul's longing for a reality it has never experienced but somehow remembers. It's the echo of a question we're afraid to voice. Who am I when I'm not cushioned by distractions?
The moment of awakening. Picture this. You're on your favorite couch, watching your favorite show, wrapped in the same blanket you've used for years, surrounded by everything you worked decades to acquire. The room is perfectly climate controlled, the lighting just right, every comfort within arm's reach. And suddenly you realize this is your life. Not a moment of rest, not a temporary pause. This is it. In that recognition, devastating and liberating in equal measure, your soul whispers what it's been trying to tell you all along. This isn't living, this is waiting. The Gospel of Thomas speaks to this awakening. Let him who seeks continue seeking until he finds. When he finds, he will be troubled. When he is troubled, he will be amazed. Sometimes awakening arrives through crisis, loss, illness, failure, moments when all the comfortable explanations collapse and you're left face to face with questions that can't be answered from your usual spot on the couch. Other times, it's subtler. A moment when beauty stops you in your tracks and you realize you haven't been truly seeing for months. A conversation that cuts through small talk and touches something you thought had died. A book that speaks to parts of you that have been silent so long you forgot they existed. The soul doesn't wake up on soft cushions. It wakes up when the floor disappears, when the familiar becomes strange, when the comfortable becomes unbearable. The important thing isn't how awakening comes, but what you do when it knocks. Do you answer the door, or do you turn up the volume on whatever's keeping you distracted? Because once you've felt that stirring, once you've heard that call, settling back into comfortable numbness becomes increasingly difficult. The couch, that once felt like sanctuary, starts to feel like a cage with very soft bars. The seductive prison of comfort. Here's comfort's most insidious trick. It promises safety while slowly stealing your capacity for growth, adventure, and authentic encounter with life. Emmet Fox taught that we create our circumstances through our mental habits, and perhaps the most unconscious habit of all is the daily choice to remain comfortable rather than conscious, familiar rather than free. Your comfort zone isn't a place, it's a decision, a daily vote for yesterday's version of yourself rather than tomorrow's possibility. It's choosing the familiar ache over the unknown adventure. We've constructed a culture with a prescription for every discomfort: entertainment for emptiness, shopping for sadness, relationships for loneliness, pills for anxiety. We've become so efficient at medicating difficult feelings that we've forgotten they might be messengers carrying important information about the direction of our lives. The modern home has become a fortress against reality, climate-controlled, soundproofed, designed to eliminate every possible source of discomfort. But what if discomfort isn't the enemy? What if it's the compass pointing toward what needs attention in your life? Your job title doesn't define you. Your bank balance doesn't measure your worth. Your streaming history doesn't tell your real story. These are just coordinates on someone else's map, useful for navigation in the social world, but they reveal nothing about the territory of who you actually are. We collect comfort like other generations collected survival skills. We curate perfect environments, perfect routines, perfect distractions. But perfection is the enemy of aliveness. Life happens in the imperfect moments, the unexpected encounters, the spaces between our carefully laid plans. Language itself becomes upholstery when we use it to cushion reality rather than encounter it directly. We say, "I'm fine," when we're dying inside. We say, "living the dream," when we're sleepwalking. We say, "can't complain," when complaint might be exactly what our souls need to do. Still, beneath all the padding and protection, something vital persists. Something that existed before you learned to be comfortable, before you discovered you could avoid difficulty, before you started mistaking safety for satisfaction. Something that watches all your comfort seeking with infinite patience, waiting for you to remember that you came here to live, not to hide.
The courage to choose. Eventually, every conscious person reaches a moment where all the comfortable explanations crumble, and you must choose. Will you spend the rest of your life as a tourist in your own existence, or will you risk discovering what it means to truly inhabit your life? Emmet Fox was revolutionary because he saw through the spiritual furniture we use to avoid direct encounter with reality. When you change your thoughts, you change your life. But this isn't about positive thinking. This is about recognizing that you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that can observe thoughts, question them, and choose which ones deserve your attention. You are not your comfort preferences or your anxiety triggers. You are not your past conditioning or your future plans. You are not even your deepest beliefs or strongest emotions. You are the unchanging consciousness in which all these experiences arise and dissolve like weather patterns across an infinite sky. This recognition is simultaneously terrifying and liberating. Terrifying because it means everything you thought you knew about yourself might just be elaborate furniture you've arranged to avoid encountering who you actually are. Liberating because it means you are infinitely more spacious than any identity could contain. The spiritual choice isn't about trading one comfortable belief system for another.
It's about having the courage to sit in the not knowing, to rest in the questions rather than rushing toward answers, to discover what remains when all the familiar supports are removed. This path offers no guarantees except transformation, not into someone better or worse, but into someone more genuinely yourself, someone who no longer needs the world to be comfortable in order to be at peace. It's the willingness to get up from the couch of your assumptions and meet life standing up, awake, present to whatever arises without needing it to be other than it is. So here we stand at the threshold of a mystery that has no beginning and no end. We've journeyed through these reflections not to arrive at comfortable conclusions, but to remember that the most important questions can't be answered from a sitting position. The comfortable life isn't wrong because comfort is evil. It's incomplete because comfort, when it becomes the primary goal, cuts us off from the very experiences that give life meaning, challenge, growth, authentic encounter, and the profound adventure of discovering who we are beneath all our careful arrangements. Your soul has been trying to tell you this in the only language it knows: restlessness, boredom, the strange emptiness that visits even your most successful moments. This isn't dissatisfaction, it's recognition, your true nature calling you home to yourself. You are not what your culture taught you to be. You are not your achievements, your possessions, your carefully curated image, or your comfortable habits. You are the vast, patient awareness that has been witnessing this entire human drama with infinite compassion and unchanging presence. The search for meaning ends not when you find the right answer, but when you realize you are the space in which all questions arise. The peace you seek isn't hiding in some future comfort. It's the very awareness that's reading these words right now. And perhaps recognizing this is enough. Perhaps you don't need to be fixed, improved, or made more comfortable. Perhaps you just need to stop arranging your life around avoiding discomfort long enough to discover that what you've been seeking has been seeking you through your own eyes all along. Let everything fall away. The cushions, the routines, the silence that numbs instead of heals. Accept this, the willingness to get up from the couch and meet your soul standing. The soul doesn't want comfort. It wants truth. And truth never fits on sofas. The question that remains is, are you ready to stand up? Before you return to whatever comfortable distraction was calling you, try this. Stand up right now. Feel your feet on the ground. Look around the room as if you've never seen it before, and ask yourself, if I weren't afraid of being uncomfortable, what would I do differently today? Don't answer with your mind. Let the question work on you like yeast in bread dough, slowly, from the inside out. If something in these words disturbed your comfort in the right way, if you recognized your own soul's restlessness in this message, share which part made you most uncomfortable. That's probably where your growth is waiting. Like this video if you're ready to admit that maybe the couch you've built your life around isn't big enough for your soul. And if you're prepared to stand up and meet your life awake instead of asleep, write "standing" in the comments. Your soul has been waiting patiently for you to get up. It's time to stop keeping it waiting.